It is Cyber Monday today, which means you can find some amazing deals online. So I've got my laptop open right now so I can show you what I think are gonna be some of the best deals, not just today, but for the rest of the year. I'll also provide links in the description where you can find all the boots that we discuss, as well as the discount codes you need. And if you end up watching this video after Cyber Monday, don't stress, because some of these discounts are gonna last all the way through the end of the year. All right, now let's kick things off by going to World Soccer Shop. Now they have a great discount running right now. It's gonna be 30% off today using code CYMonday. And not only that, they just have so many boots that are on sale to begin with. So let's start going through what I think are the best deals from this entire selection. And the first one has to be the X Crazy Fast Plus from Adidas. This is an absolutely insane deal. I remember when these boots first came out, I got to try them on when they were retailing for that $300 price tag. These should be Adidas's most expensive boot. They're, in my opinion, better than anything else that they're selling right now. I've tried on both these and the X Crazy Fast Point 1. And while the Point 1s are really good, I just really enjoy the U-throat construction that the Plus has. That's just something you don't see on a lot of other football boots. The only other speed boot that has that U-throat construction with a standalone tongue is gonna be the Mizuno Alpha. And while that's also a great boot, I think I'd prefer the Crazy Fast Plus just a little bit more. So this boot is discounted from $299 to $215 here, but you can get an additional 30% off if you use the code CYMonday. So I don't know if there's any math experts in the comments, but that would bring it down to closer to around 150 or so, which is insane. I was gonna say crazy, but it'd be too much of a pun. But you're almost getting half off from full price. And it's an amazing football boot, pretty much the most barefoot sensation you can get from any model. So if that's what you're going for, if you don't care too much about protection or things like that, it's gonna have more sensitivity than any upper. You can even see from the image here, it's completely translucent on the sides of the panel. So if you're a fan of speed boots, if you like razor thin uppers, Crazy Fast Plus, great option for you. If you're gonna get it, now would be the time. Okay. Next up, we have my personal favorite laceless football boot. This is the Tequila V4 Pro from New Balance in a kind of blackout colorway, but it has an iridescent accent of purple or almost like a navy blue. Pretty cool colorway. And they have a decent amount of sizes available, but you can also find this in a variety of colorways as well. The one I got was the, it's kind of like a gold, like black and gold colorway. That's one of my favorites. But in my opinion, this is the best laceless boot that you can get. Now, even though Adidas pioneered laceless football boots, they were kind of the first to, I think, bring them really into the mainstream. New Balance, in my opinion, have just perfected the model. The collar on the Tequila is so comfortable. It feels really well built. I also like the texture you get at the side of the boot here. It's an underrated part of the Tequilas because they're not really marketed as having a lot of grit, but this 3D texture on the side, great for controlling the ball, hitting free kicks, long shots, curled passes. It's honestly up there with as much grip as you get from something like the Predator Accuracy, which we'll talk about later. But the thing I like most about the Tequila, of all the factors we've discussed, is just how comfortable they are. New Balance is one of the only companies that makes boots with a really wide toe box, at least wider compared to the competition, way wider than Nike and Puma, and just a smidge wider than Adidas. And there's just more space for my toes to spread out. And that puts these above any other laceless boot that I've tried on. And you also get a lot of lockdown from these as well, which is some complaint that a lot of people have with laceless boots. They feel their heel slips a lot. But if you get these true to size, that elasticated collar, it's gonna keep your ankle in place. Then as far as the price, I think the original retail for these was either $220 or $225 like you see here. You're getting these discounted to $189, which means after your 30% discount with your coupon code, they're gonna be around $130 to $140. So you're getting a very premium football boot at a takedown boot price. If you're at all interested in laceless boots, but you're not sure, what model is the best to make that jump for, do it for the Tequilas. who knows, you might like it so much that you don't go back to boots with laces. But in my opinion, it's one of the best boots that New Balance offers, and it's just one of the best boots on the market, period. So next up, we have another option from Adidas. Speaking of traction that you can get from the upper, we've got the Predator Accuracy 0.1 in my favorite colorway. The whiteout colorway is crazy. I just love all white football boots, although I know for a fact that I would get these dirty in about 1 week. But the Predator Accuracy is a great boot. It was a big improvement over the previous Predator iteration, which was the Predator Edge. This is just more comfortable. It has a softer upper, better rubber elements throughout the upper as well. And as far as the different varieties of the Predator, as far as laced, laceless, mid-cut, low-cut, this is my favorite variation just because I like that higher cut collar you get with the traditional Predator Accuracy 0.1 here. It just gives you more lockdown, having that slightly higher cut design. And I prefer the addition of the lacing system here because I find the Predators to fit a little bit on the looser side to begin with. The prime knit collar, isn't that tight around your ankle. But aesthetically, this is definitely, I think, one of the coolest boots you can get on the market. Originally retail for $250, so these are gonna be $199. That's their sale price, and then with the additional discount code, they'd be going for $140. So Predator Accuracy 0.1, full premium version for $140. It's a crazy deal. You can also find a bunch of different colorways on the World Soccer Shop website as well. This is just the colorway I think is the coolest, the whiteout, but they've got a bunch to choose from. Then I've got another pair of the Predators as well. This is gonna be the Accuracy Plus. So this is gonna be the laceless variation. So you'll have a little bit less lockdown with this laceless variation because you're not gonna have the lacing system obviously, but you are gonna get a slightly cleaner striking surface, which some people might appreciate. And you're gonna get more of these rubber elements as well throughout the upper, just because there's more space without having to deal with that lacing system. So you'll have that advantage of having a little bit more traction on the ball. And if you're someone who's tried laceless boots from Adidas in the past and they work well for you, the accuracy is, you really can't go wrong. And God, yeah, I love this colorway so much. And it looks like there's more sizes available for this, the Accuracy Plus as well. And as I mentioned with the other Predator, tons of colorways available as well. So next, we're moving on to another speed boot, which always seems to be so heavily discounted, and I'm always very surprised by it. But this is the Furon V7 Pro from New Balance. It's their flagship speed boot. And I really can't say enough good things about this football boot. It's lighter than any other speed boot with the exception of the Crazy Fast Plus from Adidas. So that means it's lighter than the Vapor 15, the Superfly, the Crazy Fast 0.1. It's a really, really lightweight football boot. But at the same time, it feels pretty well built. So it doesn't feel flimsy at all. It doesn't have that translucent upper that you get with the Crazy Fast Plus. It's got an offset lacing system and a fit that, as is the case with other New Balance boots, I just find to be really comfortable. What differentiates the Furon V7 from other speed boots in this category is going to be the width of the toe box. There's just a lot more volume and you're going to get a better fit from the Furon compared to anything from Adidas or Nike or Puma. So if you're someone who likes the idea of wearing a speed boot, but in the past when you've tried models from Nike or Adidas, they've just been a little bit too snug for you, the Furons might solve that problem. So they're a speed boot that has a very accommodating fit, which I think could work for a lot of players. That being said, when I tried on the Furons and I was playing with them, they do run a little bit long, so I'd recommend going a half size down in order to get the best fit. I typically wear a 10.5. For these, I'd go with a 10. And the price on these is, it's absolutely insane. I've never seen these retail for their full $225. Right now they're on sale for $180, And then with the additional 30% off, you can get them closer to about 120 to 130. So crazy good deal. Also pretty cool colorway on these as well. All right, next one we got one of my absolute favorite boots. I even got it right here. This is the 442 V2 Pro from New Balance. Classic kangaroo leather football boot. So these are the boots that I wore all of last season. I think for the best part of the summer, these are my go-to boots. I wore them consistently for around 3 to 4 months, multiple times per week during that time frame. And they're just a great leather football boot. I generally am a sucker for leather boots. They tend to be what I go for most often. But what was most impressive about the 442s is that despite being what looks like a pretty traditional leather boot, it could be kind of bulky, they're actually really lightweight and really thin as well. So the upper is super plush to the touch. It's got great build quality, soft kangaroo leather, and the sole plate is really, really snappy and extremely lightweight as well. It's got conical studs all throughout both the heel and the midfoot, which means it's going to be great for both FG and AG. So if you're someone who wants something designated for artificial grass, a boot that has conical studs like this is going to be perfect. And their typical retail price is going to be 130 bucks. That's what I got my pair for. But obviously, with that discount that's running today on Cyber Monday, you can get these for around $100 or less, which is just honestly an insanely good deal. I mean, you're talking about the price of like an academy level Nike model at that price, below $100. And you're getting a premium leather football boot. So the 442s are great. If you like leather football boots and you're not looking to break the bank with something more expensive, absolutely go for the 442s. And next up, keeping with that same theme of leather boots, we have what my current favorite football boot is, and that's the Morelia Neo 4 Beta. This is a boot that I received about 3 weeks ago, and ever since it came in, I've been wearing it ever since. It retails for much more if you get the Made in Japan version. The Made in Japan version of the Mizuno Morelia is gonna retail for close to $320. It's a very, very pricey football boot. But thankfully, the Elite version here is virtually the same as the Made in Japan version, just with a lower price tag, because it's manufactured in a different country. So the quality of the leather with the Mizunos here is gonna be a touch above what we just talked about on the 442s. In fact, it's gonna be better than almost any other leather football boot I've tried on. I've recently tried on Adlers, which I think are a good competitor to the Mizunos, but what bad can I say about this football boot? It's really hard to pick out anything negative. It's got a really aggressive sole plate, also with conical studs, similar to the 442, so it's great on AG. It blends from leather in the toe box to synthetic material in the midfoot that's really thin and gives you a barefoot feel on the ball. And it has a really well-built elasticated collar that's gonna run underneath that lacing system. And they're just so comfortable. I have wide feet and they're pretty accommodating, but they're snug enough through the midfoot that they'd also work for narrow-footed players. And the Elite versions from Mizuno, that's where you're gonna find the best value. So for the Mizuno Alpha, the Elite version is also gonna be the best value. Whenever you can get the Mizuno Elite version, it's just such a good deal. So these are gonna retail for $199, but after that 30% discount with your coupon code, it's gonna go down to closer to $160 or so. Great deal. It comes in red. I think you can also get it in black and maybe white as well. So whichever color preference you have. If you haven't tried a Mizuno boot before, you're really missing out. If you've only gone for the major brands in the past, I can't recommend Mizuno enough. And next up, God, this is like great boot after great boot, but I also pulled these up beforehand, and so I only wanted to show you guys what were my favorite football boots of the year. So the Tequila V4 Pro low variation that I have pulled up here, I actually rated these the most underrated football boot of 2023. And I still stand by that because I don't think that these boots get enough recognition. I don't think you see enough people wearing them. And also this colorway that you have here, this is a Queens colorway. So it has a shout out to the Queens borough in New York. But yeah, the white upper with the red and navy blue accents, it's so clean. It just ticks all the boxes that I would want from a football boot. It's got the same upper as the original Tequila that we just talked about. So those the 3D textured element that you get on the midfoot that adds a lot of traction to your dribbling, your shots, your passing, you're still gonna get that here. But you're gonna get a lower cut design, so you're not gonna have that collar around the ankle, and you're gonna have the addition of a lacing system. So anyone that was on the fence about the Tequila because they weren't sure about the lockdown they'd get from a laceless boot, New Balance created this model to kind of give those people an option. And I think the Furon was maybe my favorite boot. It was one of my favorite boots in the New Balance line until I tried on the Tequila V4 Pro Low. Just because this boot feels so great on feet. I'm not always a huge fan of boots that are just completely razor thin. Sometimes I want to have a little bit of protection. That's why I'm a big fan of leather boots as well. And the thickness of the upper on the V4 Pro Low is like perfect. It's also really soft. It's wide in the toe box, so it gives an accommodating fit. The lacing system is great. The lockdown is great. And from a design perspective, they're just so aesthetic. I think they're some of the best looking boots on the market actually, from any brand, not just from New Balance. So yeah, these originally when they came out, you could only find them for $225. I think they were they started to gain popularity. But with this deal, it looks like they're going for $180, and then after that added discount code, you can probably get them down to closer to $120. But absolutely amazing football boots. These are boots that I could recommend to any player, no matter what they're looking for specifically in a football boot, just because I think these are so well-rounded. So next up, we got another great deal from Adidas that I just had to bring up because when I saw this, I thought it was a typo at first. So this is the Copa Pure 0.1. So this is the top of the line model from the Copa series. I think the reason it's so heavily discounted right now is because Adidas recently released the Copa Pure 2. And with the release of the Copa Pure 2, I think they're trying to ship off the remaining inventory from the Pure 0.1. So you're getting this boot offered for $135. After the discount, it's gonna come down to about $100 for what is still one of the most competitive leather boots on the market. So it's gonna be full calf leather upper instead of kangaroo leather. And it's got a really aggressive sole plate. That's what I remember most from trying on these boots, because it has the sole plate from the older Adidas Nemesis line of speed boots. Really snappy, really aggressive, got these half moon studs there. And conversely to a lot of other leather football boots, they actually fit pretty snug. So if you're someone who has slightly more narrow feet, the Copa Pure 0.1 is actually gonna be a great boot for you. It doesn't have quite as much volume as some of the other leather boots I've talked about. For example, it doesn't have nearly as much volume as the 442 V2 Pro. It's much more snug feeling. It feels more like a leather speed boot. In fact, it feels more like a leather speed boot than any other leather boot. So if that's the kind of sensation that you're going for, the Copa Pure 0.1, great option, and I've never seen it discounted at this price before. So next up, all right, we're moving over from World Soccer Shop over to Pro Soccer. So they're running a very similar discount right now. So their Cyber Monday deal is gonna be 30% off all regular priced items and then a 20% off sale items. And the code for that is gonna be CM2023. So that's CM2023. So for pro soccer, I pulled up some of the boots that I thought were better value plays under $100, because we've already talked about some of the top premium boots that you can get in that $100 to $200 price point. So I wanted to spend some time talking about boots that were a little bit more affordable for people shopping on a budget, say $100 less, $80 less. And so the first boot I pulled up here, great place to start. This is the Puma Future Match FGAG. So this is going to be the third takedown model from Puma's line, and the Future is my favorite model in the Puma lineup right now. I think it just has the best design, most comfortable upper, and everything about it. I think it's just a little bit better than the Ultra as well as the King. The match variation here, I wouldn't go for the laceless version, because I think with cheaper laceless boots, you're not always going to get the best lockdown. But the laced variation here, it's going to give you the lockdown you need. The sole plate is going to be pretty much identical to what you're getting on the Puma Future Pro that I have here. It's going to have a mix of conical studs in the heel and midfoot, as well as some chevron studs towards the top of the toe box. It's an aggressive outsole, it's really snappy, and you're still gonna get a textured upper as well. So if you're shopping for boots in that $60 to $80 price range, the Future Match and the Future Pro are both great options. Future Pro you can find for between $100 and $120. The Future Match, you can get these for $90, and with the 30% off discount, these will come in closer to maybe $60, $50 to $60. Great deal. Next up, one of my favorite boots of all time, total heavy hitter. We got the Nike Premier 3 in a pretty crazy colorway. This is a black neon colorway with that shiny black swoosh from Nike as well. So I own the Nike Premier 2, I own the Nike Premier 3 that I've got here in the platinum colorway, which is also, oh my God, so clean. One of the cleanest looking boots I think that I've had. It's such a classic, such a simple design. I hope that Nike continues to sell the Premiers forever, because I think they're one of the coolest boots that they make. The Premiers have steadily increased in price over time. So they retailed at $100 for a long time, then they went up to $110, and now they're sitting at $120. But with the current deal that's running right now, you can get them for 30% off, and that'll bring them from their current price tag of $120 just below $100. So you'll be saving at least $30, and they're such a great entry-level leather football boot. And for the longest time, if people were to tell me I've just got $100 to spend, what football boot should I get? The Nike Premier 3 is almost always my recommendation. It's a Nike, so it has a pretty close fit. It's relatively snug even throughout the toe box, but because it's a kangaroo leather upper, it does stretch a little bit. So even me, someone with wider feet, after you break these in, they're just such a dream to play in. They're great football boots. And they've also got a sole plate with full conical studs. So I wear them when I play on artificial grass. And look at just the small details on this boot. Look at like the embellishments you get there on the sole plate, the design of the heel as well. This platinum variation has these gold accents, which I love. If you're looking to spend around $100 or a little bit less, the Nike Premiers, classy, comfortable, amazing football boot. And so many colorways to choose from. You could just search for a while. They've also got the Premiers on World Soccer Shop as well if you want to find a different colorway, but so many cool colorways. All right, then next up we got the Copa Gloro from Adidas. So this is gonna be kind of Adidas's answer to the Premier 3. It's a classic leather football boot that comes in around that $100 price point. It's gonna be calf leather instead of kangaroo leather, but it's just as soft as the Premier 3s, and the stitching is maybe a little bit more premium than on the Premier 3s as well. And they have an even more retro fold-over tongue with an elasticated band that goes around the midfoot. So this kind of reminds me of the Adidas Predators from around the 2010, 2012 timeframe, where they all had that elasticated fold-over tongue. Definitely a very, very iconic design. And these are gonna have a slightly wider toe box in comparison to the Premier 3s. So if you're looking for a little bit more space, these are gonna be a great option. These look just like Tony Cruz's boots. If you've seen, I believe they're Adipures that Tony Cruz wears, but he's been wearing the same pair of leather football boots from Adidas for, I think, 10 years now. Adidas makes them specifically for him. And these have a similar aesthetic. They're great leather football boot, really simple. Currently retailing for $130, but you can pick them up for $100 or less after you apply today's coupon. So Copa Loro, another great option. They come in black, white, and I think blue as well. So you have a few different variations as far as colors are concerned. Next up, another heavy hitting football boot. We got the Legend 10 Pro. So I own the Legend 9 Pro, the artificial grass variation. One of my favorite boots. I used them for about a year. I actually still have them, even though they're clinging on to life with how much I played in them. The Legend 10s were a big departure from Nike because they, for the first time, stopped using leather in the Tiempos, which was a really big move for them. Traditionally, it's kind of been Nike's main leather football boot. And that was also a big selling point for the series as well. But instead, the Legend 10 is gonna have a full synthetic Fly Touch Plus upper, and it's good. It's a really good synthetic upper. You're also gonna get a material that really mimics the feel of leather. You can even see just on my screen here, it has that texturing. See if I zoom in a little bit, it has that leather texture that I thought Nike did a really great job at replicating. It's not gonna break in quite the same way as leather, but having played in these, I do think it has an eerily similar touch on the ball. And another underrated part of these boots compared to previous Tiempos is if you look here, even on the Pro variation, which is the first takedown, you're going to get an elasticated knit collar that runs under the lacing system and goes all the way around the ankle, which in my opinion makes these the most comfortable Tiempos that I think I've ever tried on. Even though the Legend 9s, had kangaroo leather, these were still more comfortable when I tried them on for the first time, just because of how well executed that knitted collar is. The Legend 10 Pro is amazing. In my opinion, I don't think you need to spend the money on the Elite version that's $220 because the Pro is basically identical. So for this model, you can get it for $150, but with that added coupon, it'll come down to around $110, $120. Absolutely amazing value. The Legend 10 is great. If you're worried about it becoming worse when they remove leather, don't worry. It's still an amazing football boot. Still one of the most comfortable boots in Nike's lineup. Okay, so we've only got a couple more left. Next up, we have another amazing boot in Adidas's lineup. This is a takedown football boot, 3rd series takedown. This is the Copa Pure 2.3. And this is a boot that I just got in a couple days ago. I'm very, very excited to review. Probably next week is when the review will come out. But Adidas is weird with their takedown models because a lot of them are not good. A lot of Adidas takedown models suck. I tried on the Copa Pure Point 2. The lockdown was absolutely terrible. It just didn't fit well at all. It almost was not fun to play in because I just didn't feel any security from the lacing system, from the lockdown. My heel was slipping. However, for some reason, In the 0.3 series, which is actually cheaper than the 0.2, the fit is better. They're more comfortable, there's better lockdown in the heel, and they also just feel more comfortable across the midfoot and the toe box as well. This is just a great takedown boot. And it comes in at just 80 bucks. So with the discount, it's gonna be around 50 to 60 bucks. So I think these might even be a better alternative than the Legend 10 Academy, which is the equivalent version from Nike. Honestly, if you're looking for a football boot and you won't spend less than 70 bucks, the Copa Pure, anything from the 0.3 series, so the Copa Pure 2.3 here, great option. It's really, really comfortable. Even though they're cheaper, they're still gonna allow you to play your best because they give you the exact feeling you need from a football boot. They're not gonna feel too cheap on feet. Usually the biggest problem I have from the cheaper Adidas takedowns is the lockdown and is the bulkiness in the toe box. However, that's just not a problem that I had with these. So if you're going for an Adidas takedown, go for the Copa Pure 2.3. You can get them at 80 bucks. Then with the coupon, they'll be like 50 bucks. And finally, we got the boot I just compared them to, which is the Legend 10 Academy. You're still gonna get a very, very similar fly touch upper on the Academies that you get on the Pro and the Elite version. So that leather-like upper is really, really similar on this Academy model at $85 compared to the Elite version that's $220. So that's a huge, huge factor. The only thing that you're not gonna get with the Legend 10 Academy here is that elasticated knit collar that goes under the midfoot and around the ankle. Instead, you're gonna have a tongue that's actually really similar to the Copa Pure 2.3 that I have here. But if you're a fan of the Tiempo, but you don't have $100 to go for the Pro version, the Academies are great. I've reviewed them on my channel. They're, in my opinion, still one of the best boots you can get for less than $100. Legend 10 Academy, and also tons of great colorways. I'm a little bit upset that this, the turquoise colorway came out after I bought mine, because I bought mine in the white and red colorway, and I think this one's amazing. But yeah, definitely, if you're looking for something under 100 bucks, it's a great choice, as is the Copa Pure 2.3. You really can't go wrong with either. So I think that is going to do it for all of the boots that we discussed today. So if you're looking for any of the specific discount codes, just check the description below. I'll have them listed there. I'll also have links to all of the football boots that we've discussed where you can find them online, either today or between now and the rest of the year. And that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.